This is Marriage Wisdom for Wives Who Want a Long Marriage. And today I want to talk about something that doesn't usually come in loud. It doesn't knock. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up as rage or explosions. It shows up quietly. Resentment. And resentment is one of the most misunderstood emotions in marriage. Because most wives don't wake up resentful, they grow into it. Resentment doesn't start because you stopped loving your husband. It starts because you kept loving him while carrying more than you expected to carry for longer than you expected to carry it. It starts when effort slowly becomes uneven, when responsibility quietly shifts. When you're the one remembering things, planning things, thinking ahead, managing emotions, reading the room, and at first, you don't mind. You tell yourself, this is just marriage. This is just a phase. This is just what commitment looks like. But over time, something inside you starts to tighten. And you don't always know when it happened. You just know you don't feel the same. You're still showing up, still being responsible, still being dependable, still doing what needs to be done. But emotionally, you don't feel as soft. You don't feel as patient. You don't feel as connected. And that confuses you. Because nothing big happened. No betrayal, no blow up, no dramatic turning point, just accumulation. That's the dangerous part of resentment. It builds up without permission. Here's something a lot of wives don't say out loud. You don't stop talking because you don't care. You stop talking because you're tired of explaining yourself and not being understood. You stop talking because conversation feels circular. So instead of arguing, you pull back. You explain less. You choose your words carefully. You tell yourself it's not worth it. And silence starts to feel safer than honesty. But silence is not peace. Silence is self-protection. And resentment grows best in silence. This matters. Resentment doesn't only live on one side of a marriage. A wife may feel resentment because she's emotionally overloaded. A husband may feel resentment because he feels misunderstood, criticized, or unsure how to express himself without it turning into conflict. One feels overwhelmed, the other feels inadequate. One feels unseen, the other feels like nothing he does is enough. Same distance, different language. And instead of talking through it, both people quietly armor up. That's how emotional distance grows. Not through screaming, but through silence. Resentment shows up in small, ordinary moments. It shows up when you stop asking for help. Not because you don't need it, but because you don't want to be disappointed again. It shows up when you do things quietly and don't mention them. It shows up when small things make you emotional and you don't recognize yourself anymore. A tone, a comment, a forgotten follow through. And suddenly you're asking, why does this bother me so much now? It's because your heart has been keeping track. Not to punish, not to throw things into anyone's face, but because unmet needs don't disappear. They settle. This part matters. Resentment doesn't just affect how you feel about him, it affects how you feel about you. You lose softness, you lose ease, you lose the part of yourself that felt open and warm. You become guarded, careful, tired. And that scares you because you know you weren't always like this. You start asking, when did I get so closed off? Why don't I feel like myself anymore? That's when resentment turns inward. And when resentment turns inward, guilt often follows. Let me say this clearly because wives need to hear it. Resentment does not mean you want a divorce. It does not mean you stopped loving your husband. It does not mean your marriage is failing. Resentment means something needs attention. It means you've been carrying more than your heart was designed to carry alone. Resentment is not a sentence, it's a signal. And signals are meant to be noticed, not ignored. Wives don't need perfection. We don't need grand gestures. We don't need a brand new man. What we need is simpler and harder. Effort, consistency, emotional presence, partnership. We need to feel considered, not just needed, not just depended on, seen. Resentment softens when a wife feels seen again, not fixed, not corrected, seen. If you're feeling resentment, you're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're not dramatic. You're human. And naming resentment is the first step to healing it. Because what we can name, we can address. What we can address, we can communicate. And what we can communicate, we can repair. Your marriage deserves honesty, and you deserve emotional peace.